Hey guys, it's Mr. Win, and we're going to talk about Law of Exponents, but the second part of it, so day 2. So our essential question is, how do I simplify using Law of Exponents? Alright, and I give you a list of the exponents. These are the Law of Exponents, the important ones that we talked about last time, and this is how it would look like on your reference sheet when you take your star as well. All right, you got a product of powers. Basically, it says when you have a to the m and a to the n, right? Same variable, but different, with exponents like, say, m and m. When you multiply them, you add the exponents, all right? The quotient, when you divide them, right? Let's see, when you divide them, you subtract. So right here it says you subtract m and m, your exponents. And lastly, when you raise a power to a power, so an m to an n, you multiply. Okay, those are the 3 rules. All right, so look at this example 1, right? We're going to start combining them and simplifying problems that have all these rules and figure out what we need to do. All right, so if you look at this example, we notice the top part here is a multiplication, right? We're multiplying there. So we'll have to multiply 4 times 2, and then the a to the 10, a to the 9. That means we add the exponents, right? But at the bottom, you're also dividing, where we subtract the exponents, right? So we're doing 2 steps here. We're using 2 rules. We're using the product of powers and the quotient of powers, all right? So let's start with multiplying first. If I multiply, you multiply the numbers like normal, right? 4 times 2, okay, which would be 8, 8. And then your exponents, okay, your a stays the same, but you add the exponents. So 10 and 9, if I multiply them, that means you're adding the little numbers, those exponents. So 10 plus 9 is 19. All right, all of that is still being divided by 2a squared. All right, now let's actually divide that. So again, if I further simplify this, 8 divided by 2 would be 4. And then you subtract the exponent. So 10 minus 2 would be a to the, 19 minus 2 would be a to the 17th. Now it's simplified. So this is just having 2 steps now, right? Compared to what we did last time, where there's only 1 rule we're using for each problem. Look at example 2. So we know there's multiply, right? Because you see the parentheses. So we're multiplying 3a squared with 2a to the 4th. But you can't forget this power to the 3rd, right? You always got to do those exponents first. So before you even do any of that, right, you raise this 3 to the 2, and you multiply it to the 4, right? So what you're technically going to have is 3a squared still, right? But then you have 2 to the 3rd, right? So to the side, think 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2, right? 3 times. That's 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So we've got 8. And then a, and you multiply the 4 times the 3. So 4 times 3 is 12, a to the 12th, right? Now we go ahead and multiply those. So multiply your numbers, right? 3 times 8, 24. And then when I multiply these, the a squared and the a to the 12th, you're adding them. So a to the 14th. And that's your answer. All right? Let's look at another example. Looks like we have a power rule, right? There's an exponent here, so we're going to have to spread that out. But there's also, in parentheses, a division rule. So we got to subtract, and then we'll do the power rule, right? So let's do the dividing rule, right? We got to subtract. So first off, divide your numbers. 16 divided by 4 would give you 4. And then a to the 4th divided by a squared means you're subtracting exponents. So 4 minus 2 is going to be 2. And we're going to raise that to the 3rd. All right, so I took care of the inside, the parentheses first. Now let's actually raise that. So this 3rd will go to the 4. So to the side, just think 4 to the 3rd is 4 times 4, which is 16 times another 4 would be 24. Carry the 2, 16. 1 plus 4 is 64. All right, so 4 to the 3rd is 64. That gives us, let's see, 64. Put that equal to, all right, 64. And then you multiply the 3 times the 2, right? Because we got the exponents, power by power. So a, 3 times 2 would be to the 6th. All right. Let's do example 4. All right, so now we got dividing. Looks like we got dividing and multiplying, maybe. We'll figure it out. Well, let's look dividing, definitely. So let's divide first. 4 divided by 2, just the numbers. Let me erase that. Would give you 2. And then if I divide these, right, I have the a's to divide, a squared and a squared, 2 minus 2. Isn't that a to the 0? All right, we'll leave that alone for now. And then divide out the b's, so we subtract these. b, 4 minus 2 would be negative 2. Now, a couple things you got to notice, though. A to the 0, okay? A to the 0 is always 1. Whenever you raise something, it's always to the 1, all right? So don't forget that. It's always 1. So that means this would be 2, 1, and then remember your negative rule, right? You can't have it a negative exponent, so you get rid of the negative. It's on the numerator, right? So we're going to put it in the denominator as b squared, all right? And that just is going to be 2 times 1 is 2 over b squared, and that's our answer. All right, one more. Example 5, right? This shows everything here. We got multiplying in the middle, 8a4 to the times 2a squared, and then we have a dividing 4a to the 7th. All of that is being raised to the 3rd power of a power, all right? So let's take this step by step. Let's do the multiplying first, all right? Multiply the numbers. 8 times 4 would give you, 8 times 2, excuse me, would give you 16. All right, a to the 4th times a squared. We're going to leave the a, but we add the exponents when we're multiplying the whole numbers, the whole terms, right? So 4 plus 2 is going to be 6. And let's write the rest of the problem. We got to divide by 4a to the 7th, raised to the 3rd. And now let's actually do the division part. So that's going to give us 16 divided by 4 would be 4. A to the 6th over a to the 7th. That means we're subtracting, right? So 6 minus 7 is going to be negative 1 to the 3rd, okay? And this is where we're going to take it to the power. So the 3rd, we're going to raise it to each. Now, if you remember, 4 to the 3rd was 4 times 4 times 4, right, which was 64. So this is going to be 64, but then a, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And the last thing to check is you can't have a negative exponent, so let's do 64. On the bottom is going to be a to the 3rd, right? We just switch it. If it's at the top, it's now on the bottom, right, as a fraction. That would be your answer. All right, and that's it. All right, thank you.